Meeting a true Floridian these days, it seems pretty challenging. It just seems like everybody is moving here from somewhere else. So finding somebody who's actually born and raised in Florida is tough enough, but finding somebody who was born and raised right here in Jacksonville, that's pretty rare, at least to us that moved here, right? Well, today on This is Jax, I'm sitting down with Gretchen Markowski, who happens to be a true Floridian and grew up right here in Jax. And today she's owner of Face Refinery Jax, a boutique esthetician spa. And on today's episode, we're going to dive into why Jacksonville is the gateway to an enjoyable life. Welcome to This is Jax, a hyper-local podcast. We're going to do our best. We're going to bring on successful business owners, the people who drive the cities, share a lot about what makes our city so great. So you can be confident and comfortable. This is a city that you want to call home. All right, Gretchen, thanks for coming.
Yeah,
this is Jax.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited that it came together and we were able to get in here. So you are a Florida native and you're a native of Jacksonville, which is ultra rare. So I kind of want
to me. Not to me, just to you.
Oh, not to you're right, because you're from here, so everyone you know is from here.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's an interesting dynamic.
Maybe not there's some people that have come from elsewhere, but
either way, I'm excited that you're here because you are the first person that we've had on the show that is
that's crazy to me.
From here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm from Sebastian, so like 3 hours south.
Yeah.
So as close as you can get, not New York, right? What key experiences or memories can you share that really solidified in your mind that Jax wasn't just home growing up, but, instead it was really where you were going to choose to call home as an adult?
I will say, because I've lived here my whole life, and I did debate going to UCF in Orlando for college, but I even paid for the dorm. But then when time came to it, I was kind of like, do I really want to leave these people, the place that I feel comfortable with? Yeah. I know the restaurants. I don't know, it just feels homey. And I know they say get out of your comfort zone, so I was like, maybe I should have done it, but there's just still something super pulling me back, which again, I'm glad that I did say, because I met my husband soon after, a couple years after that. And again, I've made a life for myself here that I don't think I could give up. I know there's some of the people that I have grown up with, they will be like, oh yeah, I one day I'm going to get out. I have to get out one day, experience something new. And I can travel, and then I can still stay here and have my comfortable home life and all the family and friends that I know and love here. So that kind of was one thing that kind of hold me back and really just keep me from wanting to call anywhere else home. Okay, so family and friends and kind of just the lifestyle that you had in general. And talk to that for a moment, because I have met other Jacksonville people, and I have some other friends that kind of but some of them can be kind of cynical about the city. Oh, yeah. I hear that all the time. They're like, don't you want to get out of here? I'm like, right. So it's like a breath of fresh air meeting you who's really passionate about the city. Mm-hmm. I'm really passionate about the city. I've been here 20 years, but you've been here your whole life, and you've chose to stay here, and you've chose to kind of pour back into it. So what would you say the difference is, or for somebody who's a local person and they're thinking, maybe I want to leave, what would you say to them to be like, hey, what about this? How can you leave this? Yeah, I guess it does kind of depend on everyone's personality, because some people do want that big city lifestyle. They're like, no, we need to get to New York. I need to get over maybe Los Angeles or something like that. So I do get that point, and then maybe some people want maybe get away from the beach life, live in kind of the Midwest, like Utah, something like that. So I do understand those personalities, but to everyone else, I feel like there's so much for you here. We have the countryside, we have the beach, we have we're pretty close to Georgia. Georgia's not even an hour away if you want to leave the state really quick. And then further down south, just Orlando, just 2 hours away, you have all the theme parks and just a ton of other exciting things there. And we have an NFL sports team. That's right. We're a big enough city to have an NFL sports team. I know. Best dressed team. That works. No, it's painful, but love the Jags. So that's another thing too, where it's, if I leave, what if the cable news there doesn't have the Jags game? What would I do? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen this season? How do you think we're going to do? Got any predictions? I think a little bit better than last season. Yeah. I definitely think we've been building a good team, and we've been building a good program. And I love seeing everything happen there. And I made that joke, best dressed team. But in reality, I feel like everything we do here
maybe we don't have everything that those big cities offer or something, but like everything we do is at a quality level. And I think it's good, right? From our small businesses to something as big as the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. And so it's kind of, to me, feels maybe like a quality over quantity type thing. I don't know if you see that too. Yeah. And another thing I did kind of want to talk about, I already had some notes here, was kind of Jacksonville, the hub. So that's one of the things I'm passionate about. If I want to travel anywhere, it's easy to do. We have an international airport here that's convenient to get to. We have all the shopping, the beaches and stuff here, but then also Orlando. So I'm curious, SeaWorld is my favorite park.
Okay.
And what are your favorite parks down there?
Definitely Disney and Universal. I was spoiled growing up before my sisters were born, when it was just me and my parents were like, let's just go to Disney every other weekend. So I grew up at Disney. Like, my memories are riding Pirates of the Caribbean at like 3-4 years old. And so that's just always had a place in my heart. Yeah, for sure. And nowadays it's fun to just go with my husband and make new memories. We'll maybe have some drinks and do the roller coasters and stuff. And then also Universal too. That one's a great one.
The theming at those parks, like I've been to parks all over the country, up in the Midwest, out west, and a lot of them are focused on rides and not theming. Yeah. Universal and Disney are really heavy theme. I really like roller coasters, so that's why I'm at SeaWorld. I just can't get enough of Mako or Manta these days. Great rides.
Yeah, I'm more of a theme person over the rides. Okay. Like, I enjoy the rides, but if I can walk into somewhere and be like, okay, I'm going to have this food and drink that fits this theme or this land, and I don't know, and just the decorations and everything just fits the vibe a bit more.
Okay.
That's kind of the vibe, and the theme is more my go-to.
Very cool. So for the listener out there that maybe isn't local, they maybe live somewhere else in the country and they're listening to this and they're trying to decide, hey, is Jacksonville the right place? And that's something to keep in mind, the close proximity to those other cities, and not just that, even like St. Augustine is close, so tourism there. So if you have family that comes to town, that's another thing.
There's plenty to do.
Yeah, what does your typical theme park weekend look like? Are you cutting out of work like Thursday and skipping Friday, doing a 3-day weekend, or is it just like, hey, we go down Saturday and we drive back home Saturday night?
It kind of varies. I hadn't done just a one-day trip in a long time, but just like 2 weeks ago did one, just Disney for the day and came back. But typically it'll be like 2 nights or so, go down, and again, depending on which passes I'll have, maybe I'll do Disney one day, Universal the other day, just try it all. But and too, like you mentioned, not only is St. Augustine super close for like a good day trip, if you really wanted to, you can make it to Fort Lauderdale, to St. Petersburg, Tampa for like a 9 or 2. Like it's not; those aren't that far.
Key West,
you can do it.
So the possibilities are endless. And then another thing: do you spend any time at the springs, like kayaking or doing anything like that?
So I feel like I just have not great experiences in the past.
Okay,
I've done Itchinatucknee once. And I think someone was like, oh, I heard there's a lot of snakes here. So I could not relax. And I'm like pushed up on the tube. Trying to like make sure I'm not touching the water at all. And then I went kayaking once in Guana.
Okay.
And just saw an alligator from afar, and like we made a noise and had woken it up. And so I didn't know this at the time, even though I should have, since I've lived here my whole life. When alligators are scared and feel threatened, they go into the water because that's where they're safest. Yeah. So because we woke it up, it kind of like looked our way and then jumped into the water and swam under our kayak to where I'm like, okay, it's coming to eat me. Like,
but really, it's
my
just
life
hiding.
flashed before my eyes that morning. I thought for sure I was going to die, but no, he just wanted to feel safe.
Get away.
So I know, which I do enjoy being out near the water, but after that, I'm like, maybe I'll be in the ocean, but kind of avoid like the lakes and springs and stuff.
I can feel that. I think I don't get to them as much. We have 4 kids, so it's a little more challenging to get out.
It takes twice as long and easy to get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, I had some other notes here too, and of all the things, before we get into Face Refinery, I want to talk about your business. That's kind of like the main thing, but I did have one other question because we talked about how you like to go to the beach or different restaurants, other things. So of all the hidden gems in Jacksonville, which do you think deserves more recognition and why?
As far as restaurants go, near and dear to my heart is a restaurant called Tequila's Town.
Okay.
It's San Pablo and Atlantic Boulevard. They've been around for, I want to say like 4, maybe coming up on 5 years. And it's very close to my house, so that's super plus. But to me, it's just, I feel like I'm home there. I don't know if it's because I go there like once a week, but everyone's like, oh, hey, like, welcome back and stuff. So it's just very welcoming. Food's great. I just love the environment.
What is the name of it?
Tequila's Town.
I don't know if I've ever been there.
Mexican food is my favorite.
Yeah.
So, because my second choice would then be Tacolu, which
Tacolu.
That's the one where if I have someone from out of town comes in, we're going there first.
Yeah.
That's because it is one of the best Mexican restaurants I think I've ever been to, and it's a good local one, kind of founded here. Which I know it's hyped up. It's not too much of a hidden gem, but it's still a good one to mention. And then another restaurant that's one of my favorites we try to go to pretty often is Prati Italia at the town center.
So good.
And again, it's a local Jacksonville
It's cool
chef.
vibes too.
Yeah,
right?
and the food is so good.
Did you go there when it was Moxie back in the day? Yeah, and then
I loved Moxie too, but Prati, I don't know too since Prati's open, I discovered I have a gluten allergy, and they have some really good gluten-free Italian options like pizza, pasta, and all that.
I might have to go there later today.
I know. I was thinking about maybe just like a week ago, and I told my husband, like, okay, let's plan a trip.
Okay.
Like, we need to go. Not a trip, but a little date night.
Date night. That's great. The rooftop at RH, if you want to just spend tons of money, you can go there. My mom and me went there. Yeah, we went there and got grilled cheese sandwiches and like some fries, and it was $150. It was good though.
Yeah, you have to go at least once, but be prepared to spend too much money.
And aside from that, and then we'll move on from the restaurant bit, but sliders. Do you go to sliders? Do you eat like poke bowl or anything?
I'm not a seafood person.
Oh man, okay, killing me.
Sorry, I know.
That's all right. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Face Refinery, and then I kind of want to back up a little bit because you talked about going to UCF, and then you ended up right here in Jacksonville. So, you know, of all the Florida schools and a chance to move away, why focus on UNF, and what degree path were you on there when you started out?
Again, I just knew I felt like I didn't have it in me to leave just the friends and family I had here and just the place I call home.
Yeah.
So that's when I chose UNF, which I actually started out going the chemistry route. Growing up, you always see doctors and feel like doctor's a good career route. Let me do that. So I started it, and I think I was like halfway through physics 1, and I'm like, no, I can't. Sorry, I'm out. So then back to the drawing board, which back then I still had no idea what I was going to do. So I'm like, business is pretty safe.
Sure.
So went with marketing. That seemed most interesting to me. And so did get my bachelor's degree in marketing back in 2016.
Okay.
And did work in as a data analyst for about 2 years, and then got into recruiting because I felt like I wasn't helping people enough in the data analyst job. I'm helping these big corporations. And so once I got to recruiting, it was nice because I'm helping on an individual level these people find jobs and figure out maybe their career path as well there.
Okay.
And again, too, once I was done with UNF, I still at that point didn't really have any drive to leave. It was, okay, like, where can I find a job here? Like, I mean, we are a big city, we're growing even more, so I knew there was going to be options for me here as well, especially in the business world. Right.
Now, how long were you in the corporate world before you started to feel like maybe I'm looking for a little bit more?
Total, it was about 7 years in the corporate world, and probably about like year 5.5. I'm like, this is pretty good, but it just felt like something was missing.
Sure.
And what didn't help is I was working fully remote. I want to say the last 5, almost 6 years that I was working a desk job. So at that point, and after having gone through COVID and everything, I'm like, okay, I need out. It's been too much.
Yeah.
I'm trapped at home by myself.
Yeah.
The highlight of my day was running to Publix to grab bananas and talking to the cashier. I was just missing that human interaction.
Jeez.
And just recruiting wasn't something I felt passionate about anymore. I did enjoy helping people, but I was wanting in-person interactions. I wanted to help someone, and I wanted it to be about something that I was passionate about. So that's kind of what got my wheels turning.
Yeah.
What could I do that kind of would fit all that? And also, too, at that point, I'd been kind of I had some issues with my skin that was changing. And I'm like, what is this? I'm kind of doing research on my own. The more I looked into it, the more it's like kind of different light bulbs are going off, and I'm just getting more and more interested. Okay. And, so one day it really just hit me. I'm like, why don't I become an esthetician? Not only does it piques my interest, but then it gets me in person with people. I'm building relationships.
Right.
And it's always been a goal of mine to be my own boss, too, and just kind of make my own decisions. And knowing I had that background in marketing from college and my first few jobs outside of college, I was like, that would help me, too, in this industry and in this business, kind of being my own boss and doing everything that the job would entail, including like finances, marketing, all of that.
So it sounds like it was a little bit of a mix of maybe some burnout or maybe not feeling total fulfillment from your work, and we're looking for something else. And at the same time, you had some personal stuff that you were looking into, and you saw the need for it, right? You were like, hey, I need this service, or I need a solution to my problem. And there may be others just like me that have that same problem. And here in our city, maybe is a great opportunity for me to help solve those problems.
Definitely.
And you already kind of hit on something, but I did kind of want to ask a specific question. So what skills did you learn at your previous role in the corporate world that really helped you develop your business today? And I guess to frame this question is more for a listener out there who is in your position where they have a corporate job, but they're looking to go into the entrepreneur world or start their own business. How did you take the skill sets you learned, and even though they're two totally different careers or jobs, how do you apply those skill sets to your business today?
I do feel like there's a lot of small things. I mean, I know how to professionally answer an email. Like I would send and receive.
You know how to talk to humans.
Yeah, it's kind of just the professional. Blanket on the word, but just kind of how you present yourself.
Okay.
That's one thing. Again, too, analyzing data in as far as like the marketing world, seeing what am I doing that's successful, what is not being successful, how do I kind of fix that? And then also too, I mean, now that I'm a business owner, I'm having to create spreadsheets and track finances and budget and this and that. That's something too from finance classes back in the day, and also creating spreadsheets in the corporate world. And also too, in my recruiting job, it's very big on, I'd be interviewing candidates and talking to clients, figuring out what they're wanting and figuring out what the candidates are wanting in their next job. So it's a lot of just listening to people, which definitely translate at least to this job, because I'll have someone come in and they might say, oh, I have this specific concern. I'm not trying to add too much to my routine. I'm trying to look for this. This is something I do. This is something I don't do. And it's really just kind of understanding where they're coming from and what's maybe a routine I can recommend for them or a service I can recommend for them that could work. So definitely just that listening and understanding and kind of problem solving as well.
Good. Yeah, and I'm also hearing a little bit about like communication or systems and models, right? A lot of times, I think when people go into the business world, if they don't have a lot of corporate experience, or if they don't have a military background or some sort of like career, then it's hard for them to create those systems and models, because they feel like maybe they're shooting from the hip. But you had experience and you could just kind of roll those into it. It's pretty cool. And you have a storefront. So I've met other, help me with the word.
Estheticians.
Yeah.
I know you have me studying.
It's really difficult for me. All right. Estheticians. So, without seeing it written down, but I've met others and they've either done mobile or they've worked at their own, but you have a physical location, which is, I think, unique. Yeah. And you're right there on Jax Beach.
Yeah, right off 3rd Street.
Let me ask you, do you ever just sneak away you're like, called my clients cancel today? Something came up and it's actually hitting
no, for sure. Yeah. Maybe have some time before or sometime after. Be like, let me just hop over there real quick and even just like sit on the boardwalk, just stare at the ocean for a little bit. And that's the perfect reset.
I'm right around the corner from you, and I have my surfboards in the office, so like I don't get out there as much as I would like to, but I think I'm going to start a little bit more.
Yeah. Now that it's so hot out, a little surf break will refresh you.
Exactly. Or like early morning before work, so now you just got that salt in you, and you're like, I'm ready to go. Yeah, absolutely. What's the dream for Face Refinery? What's in the future for you there?
So definitely just kind of growth overall. We're still kind of newer business, so just looking to reach new people, bring in some new clients, make more connections. And I'm still doing continuing education, as many courses as I can to learn about different maybe services or treatments or conditions.
Sure.
And do have a couple services that I'm really excited to bring on. I'm working on those. Be kind of big investment, but hoping to be bringing those on sometime soon, because it'll be something that'll give great results. Like, it's something I can't wait to use on myself.
I can't wait to see it. I know I follow along on social media, so is that where I'm going to find when it comes out? Yeah. Okay. All right, very cool. And aside from that, let's kind of step in a little bit, back it out a little bit. Let's talk about the vision of the future here in our city. Let's get kind of back to Jacksonville. Obviously, you're planted here. You grew up here. You love Jacksonville as the hub. You love it. It's been a great place to start a business and grow that business for you. But if you had the power to make a major change here in Jacksonville and you want to enhance Jacksonville for its current residents or its newcomers, what would that major change be?
That's a great question, and I'm excited because I immediately thought of my answer. And
Okay.
I'm like, oh, this is a good one. More on kind of the public transportation aspect and also the ability for pedestrians to just be out biking and walking more safely.
Okay.
And because I love going on walks. Luckily there's kind of a wooded path near me. Love just driving out to the beach and walking on the beach a couple miles or so. But like immediately kind of outside my neighborhood, it's not the best.
Okay.
And there's been a couple times like if I cross a major street and it's like not middle of the day, super bright out, I have almost gotten hit a couple times.
Okay.
My husband's an avid bike rider, like rides his go cycling out on the street, and a lot of times I'm at home like I hope he's okay, which I know that's going to be a major issue everywhere, but I don't know, I just feel like more lighted paths, larger pedestrian paths, and again, to public transportation, because I know I love going to the Jags games, but as everyone knows, the traffic leaving that, you have to budget an extra hour, so maybe more transportation to get people out of downtown, out places, or from the beach back over to the other side of town. Just, I think that could be something that would really help. Yeah.
Have you ever been to Florida, Georgia?
I actually have not. It's crazy that I haven't, because I should have. I've had basically 30 options.
I kind of want to take.
But I'm sure that
your transportation story has sparked a memory of mine.
Okay.
So we parked like 3 miles away at one of my. I had an office in Riverside. It was like maybe a mile and a half or two. I don't know. I don't remember.
Go along the river, I guess.
Not that long, but we would go there, kind of like get a couple drinks, something to eat, and then take the Uber down to a Jags game or something, and then we'd just Uber back to the office. However, Florida-Georgia game gets so crowded that, believe it or not, they changed the flow of traffic, so you can only go towards the stadium before the game, and after you can only go away. But I didn't know this, so we Ubered in, but there was no Uber that comes, so we had to walk all the way back at like middle of the night. But so that was
after a long day too.
That was a funny experience. Do you have, if that's kind of you just reminded me of it. I totally forgot about that, and I think that's a unique experience for sure. Do you have any funny or interesting, unique stories that are unique to Jacksonville?
Another good question. I know now, like, my mind's just on like parking and driving and stuff. I'm trying to broaden my mind, see if there's anything else.
Or just a once in a, what would be it's some experience that you think is unique here? It doesn't have to be funny or crazy, but what is something this city has that is unique from other cities that you've been to?
Maybe not one specific memory or anything, but I do love kind of the smaller festivals and events we have, like Dancing in the Streets.
Perfect.
And then you have the Riverside Arts Market, just opening of the beaches parade. There's just, it's again these smaller things, or nothing's too big and glamorous, but they're still so fun to go to. You really feel like you're kind of part of a community once you're there, and it's nice that these events are planned and put on for us just as a city to enjoy for free. Yeah.
That's right. And there's stuff at the beaches, then there's stuff downtown, then there's like the St. Augustine Amphitheater, and there's always stuff going on down there too, you know, the Christmas lights down there.
Yeah,
right?
I forgot about that
one.
All
kinds of
that
stuff.
Great. And then they say that people travel from way up north just for that too.
Right.
So yeah, if you live here, you just quick day trip, you get to see the Night of Lights that people travel thousands of miles for.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Well, Gretchen, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today. Thanks for coming in and sharing your Jacksonville history. I know we could talk forever, obviously, but if someone's looking to get a hold of you, they want to know more about Face Refinery, or maybe they want to find you on social media, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so website, facerefineryjax.com is a good one. I'm also very active on Instagram, so again, that's just Face Refinery Jax, and also on Facebook as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much again, and thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks so much. Bye.